Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Catherine Hecht, and I'm the Executive Director of the Alexander Valley Film Society, and I'm pleased to welcome you to the 6th Annual Alexander Valley Film Festival. Now, here in Sonoma County, we are just under 59 minutes away from a red flag warning, so gird your loins, everyone. Pack the car, get the car facing out, open the garage door, get ready. It's a chaotic time, but it's amazing to be here together. And if we can't get together in person, to gather online is the way to do it. So tonight we get to meet most, not all, but most of the directors and or composers of our short films from our Shorts Block 2020 Shorts Aspire. Already we've received feedback from many of you that this is one of our strongest group of shorts yet. And I'm sure you're going to agree even more so after you get to meet the people behind them. Remember that you have until tomorrow night, Sunday, at 7 p.m. to cast your vote. There's a $1,000 prize for Audience Award winner for Best Short, and I'm sure any and all of these folks would love to have that. So be sure and watch, cast your vote, and without further ado, I'm going to introduce one of my favorite people, my friend, actor, writer, director, Rick Gomez. Rick,
hi.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. I mean, this red flag thing's crazy, but
I know.
We got really great filmmakers with us tonight.
Yeah, distraction is key.
It's huge.
It's key to all.
It's like distraction from March till question mark.
Yeah. This is a crazy year. It's a crazy time. There's no doubt that we need community, connection, great storytelling, and so thank you for leading the charge on this.
Amen. I agree. You're so welcome, and you know I'm here anytime.
I do. I appreciate that. So I'm going to back out of the studio and give you all of your filmmakers and have fun.
Yeah. I'm so excited to have all these beautiful filmmakers with me. We're going to try to do a thing where we go around the horn and everybody introduces themselves and their film. And I don't know if you see the screen exactly the way I do, but Michael's to first over. He's the
I'm pointing at you.
Oh, you are.
Yes. I'm also
the Brady Bunch beginning of our thing. So we'll start with Michael and go around the horn and just give me your name real quick and your film and what you did on the film. We'll get that. We'll start that off and then we can start kind of digging into each of these absolutely fantastic pieces that you guys made. Go ahead, Michael, kick it off.
I'm Michael Roth. I'm the composer and the producer, but the composer of the web opera.
And now does it fall apart? Rodrigo, you're there for me. Why don't you jump in? Oh, do we not have Rodrigo's audio? Oh, there you are.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Rodrigo. I'm based in Oakland, and I'm the director of the short film Abuelos. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Good having you, man. And then Josh and Matt.
Yeah, my name's Josh Harding. I'm a filmmaker. I directed and shot 5 Foot 280, and I'm based in San Francisco.
And I'm hanging with Josh, and I co-directed with him and produced 5 Foot 280.
Awesome. Camille.
Hello, my name is Camille. I'm a French speaking. I hope my English isn't too bad. I'm the director, writer, producer, and editor of the music video.
Unbelievable. And Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Reimers. I'm the director, co-producer, co-writer of Bitten, which was shot and produced in Oakland, California, but I'm now based in Los Angeles.
Awesome. And last but not least, Lori.
Hi, I'm Lori Shockley, and I directed, co-wrote, and co-produced Corp, which was shot in Sonoma County, right before the Kincaid fire, actually, or right after the Kincaid fire. So we've been juggling the whole fire situation. I'm based in San Francisco, and yeah, I hope you guys are okay. I'm not right now.
Yeah. So Catherine's asking if everyone can please mute when not speaking. That was my fault because I made that super confusing. But when we're not talking, I guess we can mute. Oh wow, it went away. It's very quiet now. So here's what I'm thinking. One of the things as a filmmaker, that whenever I watch anybody else's work, the first question I have is always how you got there, how you got from the sort of nothing, and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what, that might be an idea there, and then you're shooting something. You're like, we're actually shooting a movie now. So I'm curious. I'd love to just go around the horn quickly. This sort of seed that began this idea, where each one of these films they're all beautiful, and I'm a huge fan of all of them, and I want to dig into them. But I'm really curious, kind of just sort of what was the beginning? How did fate kind of cross your doorstep to say, oh, let's dig into this and go after it? I know, Michael, that might be an interesting story for you because you were the composer of the film. So was there talks with the director, or how did all those doors open?
No, it really began. It's my fault. I'm a composer, and I have written operas and chamber music and music for film and theater. But the frustrating thing about most contemporary music theater or operas or musical theater or whatever is that if you start writing it, you really don't know if it will in fact happen. So what I've been saying to various writers for about 10, 15 years is we could make a film. The means of production are there. We might not make any money, but it would exist. And there is a potentially extraordinary opera house, which is the internet.
Right.
And so if I met with finally one writer and I were talking, and she was intrigued by the idea. And then right around the same time, the tragedy surrounding Tyler Clementi happened. And I realized that this was an event unique to our times. It was sort of the first crime unique to our times in that way that it was. And the action all happened exactly the way we're looking now, sort of. And so the idea of filming an opera that was contained with a POV and that was contained within within the computer frame, with people looking at you, meaning it's a story about voyeurism, and you would be voyeuristic in watching it, appealed to me. But also as a composer, I didn't have to write just a piano score. I could write whatever I wanted and just record it and make it happen here. It would be almost impossible to do the web opera live, but it really is a film. So, and it is 3 episodes. You're watching the episode 3, but it's 3 episodes so far with 2 to go.
So do you, just really quick before we move on, you're saying that there are plans to do more than the 3?
I am composing episode 4 now. Like a lot of things in this strange time gets a little weird here. And I know a lot of composers who are feeling like they want to write more, but for some reason they're not. I think that's kind of in the air, but we have plans for episodes 4 and 5. I hope we can have episode 4 by the end of the year, but life is funny.
Yeah. That's great.
With these three episodes, if it doesn't have a strong period at the end of episode 3, it's a pretty strong semicolon.
Yeah. And in these times, you take your semicolons where you can get it. But Rick, please pause a sec.
Hi.
Hey.
We are having a latency issue on the broadcast into our patron portal. So what I'd like to do, because it's amazing that we have you all here together, I'm going to make an executive decision and broadcast this over social media. And I'm sure that our pass holders will understand. We wanted to keep it an insular environment to honor that. But what I need to do is add a couple of destinations. We might get kicked off. And in the event we do, or you're all at your computers, if I send you another link, you can rejoin and we'll pick up where we left off. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't go anywhere. Hold on. Let me see if I can get this done now. If I do this and this and this and this. Okay, and now we are live across all Alexander Valley Film Society social media channels. Hey, Ryan, check out Facebook, make sure we're on there. Yeah, get to see how the sausage is made. How about that, everyone? Okay, great. You know what? I think we are live. Give me 1 second. We're going to do a couple of checks. Yeah. All right. If y'all want to send out, you want to take a minute, send out that you're on social media. Feel free to do it. This is the time. This is hilarious. All right, get back to it. I'm gonna scram.
Sounds good. I mean, not you scramming doesn't sound good, but getting back to it sounds good. So thanks for sharing that stuff, Michael. And we're gonna talk more. Rodrigo, the same question. What sort of brought you to the material, and how did that kind of transpire?
You know, I'm an immigrant, and my grandparents, you know, way back in the 50s and 60s, they were braceros, you know, this program that brought like men out here to California, places like California, and they would work, and they would stay, you know, like for the season, and then as those programs kind of broke down, like those stays like lasted longer. They lasted years. And so I've always been really sensitive to those stories. And when I heard that there were programs now helping like older moms and grandparents in Mexico to come to the US to meet their grandkids and to see their children for the first time, in many cases 20 years, sometimes 30 years, I was absolutely fascinated. And it turns out that the story that is in Abuelos is actually set very close to where my own family is from, in Michoacan. So it was an amazing opportunity to go back to my family origins. I got to hang out with my own family and then meet these new families and work on this project. And you know, it's a very small film in the best sense, I think. It's like a project where it was just me and my DP, and we were out there hanging out in Mexico, meeting these families and helping this one specific grandma on her journey over to the US. And, you know, for her, it was like the greatest odyssey of her lifetime. You know, she hadn't seen her kid in forever. She hadn't met her grandkids. So it was really beautiful and very healing for me. So like everything just started clicking, you know, from the first coincidence, everything was just like kind of meant to be. And I'm just like really happy that I got to go back to that region making a movie, which is always like, it adds another layer, right? Because then now there's like there's this thing that's going to live, and it's going to remind everyone of that trip.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful film, my friend. And we'll dig into a whole bunch of stuff about it, but it's on my mother's side of the family are all from Mexico, and so there was a lot of there was just a family feeling of the food and the people and the thing, and it just was that it just brought my memories to those places. And I turned to look at my wife when we're watching the film, and she's just bawling over the pure emotion that you're catching, all of these sort of like just crackly stuff that's going on with her, that there's just no way, unless you're in it, really in it, family inside of that you're going to get next to. And it was just beautiful, man, really beautiful. And I want to talk to you more about a whole bunch of stuff that moved me about it, but for now we'll keep on going. But next on the deal here, did I lose everybody's name? It's Joshua's up next, I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like he maybe lost our names. So kind of how our film got started was I actually work with Jasmine, who is the subject in our video, the drag racer. And, you know, I work with her, but she is very quiet and she's kind of reserved and an introvert. And she was just kind of at her desk every day. I didn't really meet her until I found out that she did this sport, this kind of loud, obnoxious sport. That's, you know, obviously it's very, male dominant. And I just approached her and I said, hey, would you be interested in wanting to tell this story through a short film? And she was interested, and that's when that's how it got started.
And so you went to the track and just saw that. So did you shoot a bunch of races, or how did all that work out?
Yeah, we shot, and the other thing is, it was just Josh and I as a team, and then it's kind of a passion project, as I'm sure everybody else's is also, and we just pulled in favors across the board, from sound design, music, and colorist, editorial. And we filmed Jasmine for one day. She's got a shop where they work at down in San Jose, and record her audio interview. And then we actually flew to Vegas, and there was 2 days of racing out in Vegas, and we shot for 2 days and just followed her around and captured as much as we can. And the cool thing is, after, with most of these stories, it can go so many different ways. And we kind of found something else in between doing all this with her. And so brought her back in later on to record some more audio to kind of lead into it a little bit more, the direction we wanted to go. And so it was great. Like I said, it was just a tight-knit small team that created this and just told her story. And she's a powerful person too, but it was just great to put it out there for her. It made her feel proud.
Yeah, man, she's a powerful person, and you guys shoot her beautifully, and the film's got such a beautiful rhythm. In fact, I wrote down Nathaniel Kalnin is your editor.
That's our editor, yeah.
You guys work with him kind of hand in hand?
Yeah.
The cut is so tied to her voiceover, and the stuff you guys did with the animation stuff and pulling out of the film and going into the film. I mean, it has such a beautiful rhythm to it. So I wanted to give him a shout out, because after I watched it, I was like, man, oh man, he's doing some really great work.
I appreciate that, and I'll tell him too. And he's the best of all. He is the most understated and wonderful person in the world. Actually, I work in an ad agency world, and this was a side project for us, like I said. Yeah. And so he's our in-house editor, and he was down in LA for a couple of years, and we were lucky enough to bring him up to San Francisco because he's a hidden gem. And I'll pass along that note because he'll truly appreciate it coming from you.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. He's great, really great work. The whole film is beautiful.
Thanks.
Camille, you're next.
Yeah. So, the music video was my first short. I wanted to do a short movie about how the stereotypes are affecting the young people. And I already had in mind the young men's characters that want to be a rapper. Yeah. Rapper. Yes. And I don't know.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. As a making films for a whole bunch of years, I can tell you the hardest thing that I struggle with is holding back and letting the audience feel something. And your film freaked me out with dread for so long that I thought, I don't want to see where you're going with this. And then you turn the whole thing and it goes in this totally different place. And it just was absolutely beautiful and a fantastic ride. And to be your first one, you are on a really great road, because it was it really was. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see the other shorts, but it really did make me go like, oh man, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And it's just totally freaking me out. And it just has a beautiful turn to it. And so kudos. It's great. Really, really well done. And the performances are fantastic. We'll talk more. Sarah.
Yes. So my co-writer and I, had been bouncing werewolf stories back and forth, just sharing things. I love horror amongst, I love lots of things, but I've got a special place for horror in my heart. She did too. We were sharing these books and short stories back and forth. And I had, at the time, my dog. I had a dog who was getting on in years, who was just crazy talented. And I had been looking for a project to do with him for a while, something I could do to just capture what a talented canine he was. And so we came up with this idea, the reverse werewolf idea. came up, and I said, I've got the dog for that. And we were both at, well, we were at Pixar at the time, and then we worked with the, Pixar's got a co-op program where they have gear and equipment, and, you know, so we just, and you gather other people from the studio who are making short films and looking to sort of expand their talent skills and try other things. You know, you do animation all day long, you might want to sort of flex some live action muscles. So we gathered the crew, and Pixar let us use their gear and gave us some money, and we went and had ourselves a good time.
I cannot believe that that's your pup.
Yeah.
I cannot believe. I did, and you know, it's not like every single one of these stories are going to walk hand in hand, but I did a film that one of my co-star was my dog, and it was my dog, and so I know exactly that thing. But your dog, I was convinced that wasn't your dog, and in fact that you went and to extensive lengths to hire an incredible dog, because the dog takes perfect. I mean, it's like perfect.
Yeah.
He's playing subtext.
He is amazing. Well, he passed of old age very gracefully.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
But he was amazing. I mean, he had a 5Q run he had to do, where he had to do 5 things in a row.
And the back thing, and the thing, the whole deal.
I had to make something with him. He was incredible. He was
I'm so glad that you did, because he really is. He really is incredible.
Yeah. And I had a good dog trainer, you know, that I'd had since he was a pup, Sandra Mannion. We only had to teach him one new thing for that film, and he was nearing 10 years old when he made it, and he was incredible. And he's, you know, posthumously won some canine acting awards. Like,
it's so great.
Better traveled around the world than I am.
That's awesome.
More people know my dog than countries I've been to. Like, it's a nice way to tribute him. I'm glad you enjoyed
it. And he's so good. He's really, really good.
Oh yeah, he's amazing.
We're going to talk more about it, because I have questions about, like, did you get a chance for the actor to see the dog, to hang out with the dog, and they have a bond. The actor and the dog have a bond. The guy who plays the dog, you know, plays the other side of the dog. Yeah. There's a tie to the both of them. We'll get into it, though. We'll get into it. Lori.
Hello.
Hi. So tell me how you found this story. What brought you to it? What's that sort of like?
This started as a feature film script. I have a co-writer partner who was in the wine industry, and she started talking to me about her experiences there. And out of that feature film that has been written and rewritten several times, we decided at one point it felt like there was a short story in there to tell, and there's so much on this topic, and it felt like this was a new container for that. And, you know, it was sort of this afterthought that kind of snowballed, and we were talking about it, and then it started to become real when we found Fapiano Vineyards, and they loved the idea, and they're a vineyard in Sonoma County, and we saw the property, and essentially it was the vision. It was, I walked onto the property and I said, this is it. This is her vineyard. And so it went from there. And I've been a producer for years, and produced short films and commercials. And this is my first short film as a director. So
I was going to ask you about that, because I looked into see what people have done and kind of where their space was and all that. And you've done a bunch of production.
Yes. Yeah.
And so did it feel like, okay, I'm ready? Because I have a similar story too. Like I came into it a little bit late.
Yeah.
Was an actor for a really long time, and then started to write a little bit, and then slowly crawled over the barrier, and people hit me with brooms, and I was like, please let me direct. And no, nobody wanted to hear anything. But it's a thing where you kind of, it's a big step. You know, like you go, okay, or was it for you? It was for me. I was terrified.
No, it's a good terrified.
Yeah.
But terrified, yes. And also it was something that, you know, I've been doing this for a long time, and it was something that as a female wasn't accessible to me.
Right.
And it's part and parcel of what the film is about, you know, these opportunities, right? So I was, you know, I was down in LA in the 90s, and, you know, to be a female in the industry was a whole different thing. I came up with the film. I didn't, you know, I didn't have the tools. So it was a lot harder for the entree. You couldn't just pick up a digital camera and shoot. So it sort of felt like it was an arena that I was locked out of for a long time. And so stepping into it was really, really lovely, because you get to pull in all these amazing people, you know, all these amazing people that I've worked with over the years, really rallied, so talented, and was supported by them. And, you know, I got to flex a lot of muscles that I hadn't in the past, but I'm comfortable on set because of all the opportunities and the what I had done in the past really helped support being a director. So it was a really, really great experience. Yeah.
And so do you feel like you're gonna, do you have anything where you feel like you want to get back into it sooner than later?
Well, we're hoping this feature gets made. We've got some representation around that. And yeah. And so, no, I would definitely do it. I would definitely do it again. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear that.
Yeah.
So real quick, the one thing that kind of watching the whole program, and if any of you guys have questions for each other too, throw whatever you want to throw out there. If anybody got to see the films, one of the things that kind of it was interesting to me is that the way this year was curated, there was a lot of things that were about rhythm and pace. And this idea, which I get asked all the time as a filmmaker, like, you know, how do you know when a movie's 15 minutes long? How do you know when a movie's 5 minutes long? Josh and Matt, yours may be one of the shorter ones on the block, right? So that film, though, to me felt like it was the perfect rock song, and every piece of it moved. The web opera develops. It's an opera. So you're sitting in it and you're going, oh my gosh, we're going over here. And there's a new character. There's a bunch of new characters, and we're in this space. And there's always this sort of question, and I think it's an interesting one. It's like, how do you know? And Lori's speaking directly to this. You say it was a feature, and now we're going to explore just this incident where she decides to leave. We know a little bit about before, and then we know how she's leaving this space. Did you guys have an inkling that? And Rodrigo, same for you. There's a beautiful pace and rhythm that you create with your film that is just about space. That is masterful storytelling, as far as I'm concerned. And you just get to taste the space. You use reoccurring images, symbols, and images. And she fills the frame. Sometimes she's not in the frame. Sometimes she is in the frame. She comes into her own frames. And you just feel, all of you have such a beautiful sense of space and pace and awareness to what the piece is. So my question is, very quickly, were there times where cuts got a little longer, where you cut things down? Did you understand exactly kind of what you wanted the story to be according to page count? It's all very well. They're all really well timed and really well paced and really well cut. So if people want to speak to that, I'd love to hear from all you guys. But if anybody wants to talk about that, Josh and Matt, you guys can jump in, because I just to be really specific about your short, it really does have this. And the sound design is beautiful too. But you are revving with the engines of everything that's going on in such a beautiful way.
Yeah. I think I remember walking with Matt when we were in Las Vegas after shooting for 3 days doing that race. And I remember saying, this is going to be a lot shorter than what I thought.
Right.
And then when we get back and we're in post-production, I mean, that was the great thing about the team that we had with Nathaniel and Matt and I, is like, we were all on the same page of what kind of piece we wanted to create. And we wanted to be fast paced. We shot it that way. You know, there's no slow motion. We wanted it to be fast paced. We wanted quick cuts. So that's kind of what, at the end of the day, we could have gone in a lot of different directions. And Matt can speak on this. Is like, we could have gone in a lot of different directions as far as talking more about her family and the history of racing, and stuff like that. But we just decided to, you know, and to be honest with you, this is a personal project, and we're not rolling in money either. You know, it's like, when you add time to a film, sometimes you add money, and that would have been probably the case for us. So we just kind of wanted to keep it short, sweet, and to the point. And we wanted to do it beautifully, though.
You distilled it to a perfect place, and what I took away from it that was so effective was her strength, and that this human being, this sort of petite human being, can be put inside this machine, and you felt sorry for the machine.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll speak to a little bit at the timing too. Is like, you know, my wife asked me, is like, what do you want the takeaway to be from this film when we're on it? And we're like, we just want to make Jasmine a badass. You know, that's all. That's what we want to do. We just wanted to like, hey, what you do is amazing, and you're awesome at it. And we just wanted to give her that platform. And so I think from us too was the jump of like, hey, we're either going to do a 4-minute piece or like half an hour, 2-hour piece. And I think there was no in between for that. And so we felt like, you know what, this is super tight. It's great. Everybody feels great about it. So like, let's keep it what it is. And it's almost, a lot of people said, it's like, now I want to see the long form of it. It's almost like a teaser type thing. And I don't know, it's like, and I appreciated you saying that and everybody else saying it, because I think it was timed out very well of what it was in that time frame. And we just wanted people to be excited about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really well done. Rodrigo, you have something you want to say about the sort of cut of the film and how you landed on the sort of time you took and the mood you created inside of it?
We tried to use music at first. We tried to, like kind of create this very romantic score, and it just didn't work. It took away from feeling the space. So we just tried to time things so that you would get that feeling of like, oh man, oh wow, and then cut at that point. And it took a few passes to figure out what the length of the cuts were, but the whole film is shot on like unmoving camera for most of the time, and so that really helped to kind of figure out the pacing, because you're looking at like this canvas and you have to just kind of trust your gut of how long can you look at this image and until it becomes tiresome, but how long do you need to look at it until you really feel that authenticity of it. And taking away the music was a huge help for the film. I had never imagined that the film would not have music, and without it just kind of flows in this very organic way. And a lot of it, I think, just comes down to your gut. There's a lot of theories and stuff about it, but I think it just I followed my gut.
When you make big decisions like that as a filmmaker, when you say, you know what, we're dropping all the music out, people kind of go, what? And you even feel like, I don't know, but man, it was so impactful and really wonderful. We can get back to that, but I have a question from Catherine that's coming in from online here. This is from Helen in Michigan. Hello, Helen. To the female artists, we know you have to push upstream, and you're all remarkable. Would you change anything now, looking at your finished projects? This is to our female filmmakers.
We have a saying that you're never done, you just run out of time. So, I mean, there's always little things that you'd love to go back and just have more to, but you have to stop. At some point, you just have to stop. And hello, Michigan. I'm a Detroit native myself. So nice. Hello, Helen.
Laura, you have anything to add to that?
I would add to that. There's definitely shots that if I could afford another day of shooting, we would have gone back and, picked up a bunch of stuff. And, it's money sometimes.
Yeah.
But those confines, allow you to be more creative at times as well. Money doesn't clearly solve everything. So, I mean, I think it's just, you can pick apart things, but, you're never finished.
Yep, for sure. Camille?
Yeah, I agree with this. I think during the shoot, I really lack of time. I was all over the place because I was thinking more about the schedules and I felt like I didn't have enough time to be creative on the set. But I don't know. I running out of time.
Yeah, yeah. Time. Damn time. I totally agree with everything you guys are saying. And there's also this idea of abandonment that happens on every single project where you just go, it's not done and it's done. And you just kind of go, here it is. What will the Da Vinci do with it now? Oh, it looks great. There's another question from Roddy in San Francisco. Love seeing Fruit Fly in the Fest and now the web opera. Michael, are we going to see movie musicals make a comeback?
Well, believe it or not, I'm not in charge of movie musicals in America. So I don't know if I have the power. I'm just going to jump to the last, to the previous question, by the way, and just say, though it'd be ridiculously presumptuous for me to address any issues about female artists in the web opera per se, what I will say is that I'm going to say about 80% of the artists who worked on it were women. The director was a woman. The librettist was a woman. The DP was a woman. The two of the graphic designers were women. Most of the musicians were women. So I did my bit, but I'm the composer who's kind of sitting over here writing it. So I do what I can. The answer to Roddy's question, the honest answer is I don't know. But what I will say is that this has a lot to do with the way our lives are right now. But I do know that it was my way of encouraging contemporary composers to find other mediums to work in. The thing that can happen with stage is that you're going to wait an awfully long time to do one performance, maybe, and you might not get another crack at it. And now we don't even know when that might happen, because who knows when there will be a live performance again, any place in the United States. So I would hope that it means that movie musicals, in the sense of musical movies, is entirely possible to do. Of course, music videos are that already, and there are interesting experiments that I've seen with chamber music and singers and film and things like that. So I think there's a lot of work going on that way. It's under the radar a bit, but it is happening. So if the web opera encourages that,
fantastic.
Great. So
there's a question from Monica from Guerneville. Josh and Matt, do you have an update on Jasmine?
I think the update, she's actually watching right now. She would do a better job of giving the update. But I think the update is her whole family decided to not race this year for obvious reasons. But I think they plan on coming back next year and start racing again. That's the only update I have.
Yeah, I mean, she's excited. Like, the next phase, like her whole family's into it, and they're all just like churning the butter and trying to stay in the race industry, and just waiting it out till next year. But she's excited, that hopefully this film will give her a little bit more gusto going into next season for sponsorship, and that's the next phase of everything for racing. So she's still hanging. She's still good. Like I said, still a badass.
Yeah, man, total badass. Yeah, people want to know about next projects, which I was going to get to. I had a quick question I wanted to ask Sarah that related to the dog, and this is just a filmmaker question for me. How much time did you get to rehearse dog, actor, dog, and was your actor had to have done body work? Is he a dancer or something?
Yeah, Michael Curran, we found him through the circus arts community. He's a contortionist.
So great.
So he posts amazing, crazy videos on social media all the time, and doing these insane backbends. And interestingly, at the time, he had no experience with dogs. He did a lot of research, and he brought his heart. He had never done any acting. But we needed someone who was comfortable with being physical and being nude, and he fit the bill, and he just brought his heart to it. He brought everything. And out of that experience, he is now really into dogs, like way into working with dogs. He has a dog now. Like,
That's so funny.
about his dogs. And prior to that, oh, hey, Michael.
There he goes.
Michael, they didn't have any rehearsing time. They met, but Michael he did his own research.
Right.
Everything he had to it.
The energy of all of it and figuring out how his hand works on the doorknob and all that stuff is just so priceless. Like you're thinking, you're going through, you're like, oh, this is really great. And your dog has so much personality that it just works out so well. You just got a great hand in the game. Like they work perfect together. They're just two characters that work great together. On this question for next projects, do we want to let's talk a little bit about that. Michael, I'll start with you. I know you're saying that you're writing for episode 4 now, and that you were talking about maybe plans for, did I hear right, for 5? You're muted, sorry, bud.
The plan was, has always been for 5 episodes. Just to give you a timeline, I started composing this in 2014. So it's taken, and we released it in early 2019. Episode 4 is almost done composing. Every episode takes a while to record, film, and then post-production and all that. So, and then as for other projects, I'm writing chamber music, and I also music direct for projects for Randy Newman, and we hope there's going to be a concert production of his Faust. It was supposed to be this past spring. Maybe it will be in some other spring. Yeah. Some other year. It's a strange time. So,
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed. The live thing is just it's horrible. Rodrigo, do you have any projects that are on the horizons?
Yes, I actually just finished shooting on a project that's been like 8.5 years in the making about a friend of mine who's incarcerated and serving life without parole. And so it's an interesting project because I met him I was his interpreter at his own murder trial. Wow. So I was working as an interpreter, and I met this kid, and I was like, man, like he just got sentenced to life without. Who is this person? And that's what the film is about, like trying to answer that question of like, who is this young man? And I've been working on it for a long time. We've become friends, and the film, basically is a response to all the challenges that you have when you try to make a movie about someone incarcerated. The system really wants to erase them. So I'm hoping that film will be done next year, and I can share it with you guys.
Wow, that'd be awesome. And Catherine is saying, is this 499?
No, that's a different movie. 499 is actually finished, thank God. And so that movie is like out and about trying to figure out how to survive in the world of COVID right now.
I hope it's got its mask on. It's crazy to try to bring projects out into the world right now. And it's just an insane time. Good luck with that, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. So you got to share it with us. How about you guys?
We're working with, we're going to do a short video working with Michael Tusk, who owns the restaurant Quince in San Francisco, the 3 Michelin-starred restaurant in San Francisco. Obviously, no surprise, he had to close his dining room down, as well as his other 2 restaurants, Catania and Verjus. He had to move his whole operation to his farm in Bolinas. To be honest with you, we're documentary filmmakers. We don't really know where the story is going to go, but we're going to talk to his suppliers, his farmers, his staff, him, and we're going to try to dig up something there. And he's willing to open up to us and allows us to come in and film his operation. So that's our next project, and we start shooting mid-October.
Oh, fantastic, man. That's great. That's really great. My wife is Rodrigo. My wife is asking, can we watch 499 yet, or is that still waiting for? Are you trying to figure out a way to distribute that?
We're still working on the distribution, but
Okay.
you know, like it's just COVID has frozen everything in terms of distribution. But I think, you know, we'll have some good news soon, and you'll be able to see it in some format soon.
And Josh and Matt, best of luck with that. I hope that you guys can, you know, come back to us and show us what you got. That'd be great.
Yeah, we're just trying to show some same thing. We're trying, obviously, Rodrigo, not your realm. It's hard to follow up your realm of what you're doing. It's amazing. Yeah. But we're just trying to highlight some other people that are affected from the restaurant industry overall.
Yeah, for sure.
We're trying to turn it over really quickly too, to get it done before the winter hits across the country, like winter is coming type thing. And just try to make everybody aware of how all these industries are struggling, and just trying to highlight this restaurant, and also, like Josh said, all the suppliers affected by it too.
Yeah, it's great work. Well, I wish you guys the best of luck with that. And if it's anything like the last piece, you'll kill it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Camille, how about you?
Yeah, I don't have a specific film project, but I have a few unfinished scripts. Some will request money, and other idea I want to explore and like take more risk with no money.
Yeah. And well, I'm going to tell you something. I am really excited to see what you do next, and I hope it's I hope it's exactly what you want to do. But I'm just blown away by your filmmaking skills, and so I can't wait to see what you do next. And I hope someone gives you a gigantic bucket of money, and you can shoot for as many days as you want and never have to worry about it. How about you, Sarah?
I've got my second horror short is in post. So trying to get that wrapped up by the end of the year. And I've got season 2 of my web series, which is a cooking comedy web series I do with my best friend Allison. Family Recipes with Allison and Sarah.
Yeah,
I love it. Plugged it right now. So I'm trying to get that out before the holidays. And I've got a feature script that I'm been pounding away at for a while.
Horror genre on that one?
Yeah. Horror. Yeah, you know, animation's my day job and I love it. I'm an animation editor and I work for Disney, and I was at Pixar for 10 years and that's my bread and butter, and I bring both. I bring a lot of my animation storytelling skills to the horror, and I bring a lot of horror sensibility to the way I cut and make suggestions in animation. It's really informative in both directions. So
that's fantastic. And so does the new short, you're planning on shooting that script's finished and ready to go, or you post on that?
That's been shot. It's in post. Yeah, we're in post.
And does that have a similar comedy look at the horror side, or is it?
No, I'm trying straight horror. I'm going to try and just do straight ahead short. It's much shorter. It's like 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes tops. But I'm going to try just for the chills this time.
I'm psyched to see that too.
If it's not a horror comedy, it's very, you know, they slide. If you fail at the fear, you just slide into comedy. So it's
really looking there. That's awesome. Catherine said you know where to find us, Sarah. So
thank you.
And so Lori, you have the feature written and ready to go. So and again, really difficult right now with COVID and everything else happening to sort of make those inroads. But are you you're still actively pursuing that?
Yeah, actively. I've got a producer in LA. I've got a rep. It's a hard road, but you know, we're making traction and there's some really exciting things happening. And I'm working on 2 other feature scripts. And I've got you know, Corked is an homage as well to the 70s. The music, clearly, the shots, the film grain. And we spent money on it, and it was a large crew with about 15 people plus 6-7 actors. And so this time I'm paring it down, and I want to do another homage, sort of a comedic noir. And I've shot half of it, and it's it's me and a camera and some actors. And so that's kind of fun. That's the mixing it up piece of it. Yeah. So
awesome.
we'll see. It could be terrible, but who knows? You know?
Just the act of doing it, you know, that's what it's all about. Yeah. Last thoughts and wrap up. No way. We're staying on this call Zoom. I mean, what is it called? Duck guy. I don't know what it is. Forever. Ha ha ha. Now you're laughing. The encouraging words. Okay. Listen, here's what I'm going to say. You guys are a bunch of unbelievably talented filmmakers, not actors. But I would love to spend the rest of the evening with all of you. So let's go meet down the road. Everybody's in Oakland or San Francisco, someplace we can meet up. Come on, let's we'll blow this Zoom call or whatever the heck it is, and we'll go someplace else. I was blown away by all your work. Kudos to all of it. And it's been my honor and pleasure to talk to you guys. And I hope you had fun. Keep making movies. I know it's hard. I know it's crazy, and I know it's nuts. But you know, we have to be like these joy machines that just dump joy and ideas and love into a indifferent universe. How's that? I don't know, Catherine. That's all that came to my head. Cool. Rodrigo gave me the thumbs up. You guys are awesome. Your work is awesome. Thank you for doing this with us. And more work. Here's Catherine to save me from my exit.
Hysterical. Oh boy. No, really and truly. We have a couple more minutes, and we do have some students watching. And because that's such a big part of our program, I'm wondering if we could just do a quick round robin. If there's anything y'all might like to say to young people thinking about visual storytelling, film, media arts, any words of encouragement? Michael, how about you?
Sorry, unmuting. Sure. Well, I mean, as I said earlier, I think part of, you know, I'll talk to composition students first and say that there are mediums open to you that you should exploit. And then I'll also say that film, theater, and music have a way in terms of them at their most experimental of sometimes getting very parochial. And so I would encourage film artists to get to know composers, and I would encourage composers to get to know film artists because also to exploit each other's work process, to come up with new forms and new ideas, not necessarily to come up with old ones. That's, I think, what I would maybe suggest. So I hope that's
I think that's stellar advice. Anybody else want to jump in on that?
Yeah, we'll throw in just, I think from my end too, is like, I've worked in the ad industry for a while, and I love telling stories across all platforms. And this is actually the first film that Josh and I have worked on. But I think the big thing for me is finding the right stories. And I think taking the time to interview people or to find something that's got guts, because it's different than making a 30-second commercial that I'm used to. But if you can find somebody that has enough breath and shoots super wide, go super wide, and then when you get into that editorial room with a great editor that Nathaniel is with us, is like, you can break that story down and make it super tight. And I think that's, from my end, that would be my biggest thing, is just like, find the perfect story, number one, and then just shoot, and see what you can uncover across it.
For sure. Anybody else?
I'll jump in. I think if you want to be making media, you need to make media in any way you can. This is a networking industry, but you got to be making stuff to show people. So whatever it takes, get out there and make stuff. Also, you know, especially through animation feature films, I've learned how much of a collaborative process this is, and how much people go out and do it all by themselves all the time. But if you really want to enjoy yourself and have an amazing product at the end, collaborate, be open to the ideas of the people around you, and really invite people to come into your circle and talk about things. And man, it just elevates everything. Everybody will bring their A game, and something that starts off as like a great idea becomes a phenomenal film towards the end. And if you're in school, my last thing is, if you're in school and you're going towards a film degree or some sort of media degree, don't discount your other classes. Everything you learn contributes to your storytelling skills. So sociology, mathematics, history, anthropology, art history, everything throws in and makes you a better storyteller. So pay attention to everything in the world around you, because you'll bring it all, and the fresh ideas, and that's what we need.
I concur with that, and I just want to add, that's really well said. And I just want to add, I think when you're a student, sometimes in your mind, you want to be a director or producer, and that's all you want to do. And exploring other jobs, even if it's, accounting or craft service or lighting, or I will tell you that I've done everything and basically worked from the ground up, and everything I've done in my career has fed into me directing. And, so just take advantage of it all, learn what you can. If you don't like doing something, you don't have to do it again, but it will inform what you do later.
For sure. Yeah. Rodrigo, anybody else want to jump in?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I think you really need to be curious, and you really need to enjoy the process, not just making a film to have a film, but you need to have fun during the process, because it's a really, really long process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would just add to all those great comments that, pay attention to the stories around you. Pay attention to what's gone on in your family, what's happening in your community. It might not be Hollywood, but it might be an amazing story. There's so many good stories out there, and there's so much power in our stories and the stories that we have lived with. So pay attention to those and value those.
I couldn't agree more with all of it. You guys, that's a fantastic bunch of notions. And shoot is my motto with everything. You're going to make a bunch of really bad stuff, but you're going to know that you're headed somewhere, and you're going to see that you're headed somewhere. And the only way to get to where you're going is to keep shooting, or doing the craft service thing, doing the accounting thing, or collaborating with someone you haven't collaborated yet. But each step is gonna get you to where you want to go. I always say to students when they ask me, I say, if you want to be a high jumper, start jumping. You want to be a high jumper, you got to jump over crap. So start figuring out stuff to jump over, and you'll be on your way. And that's the best I can do to glom onto the already beautiful notion.
Start jumping over crap, everyone.
Start jumping over crap. As I said it once, I've said it 10,000 times.
I love it. Well, listen, we're going to let you all go back to your evenings. And please, filmmakers, I'm going to drop you back into our waiting room, but stick around for a minute so we can just wrap up and exchange details or emails or whatever. And thank you so much for your flexibility and just going with the flow and being here, and keep up the good work. It's so important. And thanks for sharing your stories with us. So good.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
We'll see ya. And Sir Rick Salot.
Yes.
I think that was well done.
Okay. Well, it's my group of people.
It is your group of people.
Yeah.
Well, let's say goodbye to this group of people who have tuned in. Thank you so much for being here and spending your Saturday night with us.
I can't say thank you enough. Thanks for supporting the whole thing. AVFF, Catherine Hecht, I love you with all my heart.
Thank you. And
the films are fantastic. Watch the movies. They're so good. And you know what? I can't believe you had Rafifi. People should watch Rafifi.
You should watch them all. But
watch them all. But how cool is it?
As it relates specifically to the short, just a reminder, yes. Shorts are available. We've extended the festival by 2 days. You have until Tuesday to watch everything, but you only have until tomorrow night to vote. Tomorrow night at 7, your votes have to be in. Be sure that you vote for your favorite films. And until then, stay safe, stay connected, and stay sane. We'll see you at the movies. Good night, everyone.
Good night.